The Zarnathi Empire had ruled the stars for over 1,000 years. No one dared to challenge them. Their fleets were massive. Their weapons could melt moons. Entire civilizations had vanished because they refused to kneel. Across the galaxy, species whispered the name Zarnathi with fear. To the Empire, fear was power, and power was everything. On the cold world of Urek Prime, the Zarnathi Emperor sat on his high throne. Around him stood his advisors, commanders, and scientists. They spoke of conquests, taxes, and rebellions, though there hadn't been a real rebellion in centuries. The empire was too strong, too large, too cruel. But something strange happened that day. A signal arrived. It was weak and old, using a communication code not seen for over 300 years. The message had only 2 words: "We're back." At first, the advisors laughed. One said, "It's probably a lost colony or an old pirate trick." But the signal came with coordinates, pointing to the edge of the galaxy. There, something waited. A single object. A ship. Emperor Zalek narrowed his eyes. "Send a scout," he ordered. "Let's see who's making jokes." A small Zarnathi scout ship jumped to the edge of the system. What it saw shocked the crew. A black warship hung in space like a shadow. It didn't respond to hails. It didn't move. But it was massive, larger than any known dreadnought. Its surface didn't reflect light. It looked like space itself had taken form. The scouts scanned the ship. No life signs, no movement, no weapons activated. One brave pilot flew closer. "It's human," he whispered. The word sent a chill through the command ship. "Impossible," the captain replied. "Humans disappeared centuries ago. We destroyed their last colonies." Still, the markings were clear. Earth Fleet, serial code 001. Back on Urek Prime, the Emperor watched the report. "A relic," he muttered. "They sent us a museum piece." His generals laughed. One said, "Shall we blast it for fun?" But Zalek raised his hand. "No, let's study it. Bring more ships." Within hours, the Empire sent 5 warships to the edge of space. They circled the silent human ship. It still didn't move, still didn't answer. The Zarnathi scanned it again. No weapons online, no crew. It just floated, like it was waiting. Then, suddenly, the ship spoke. The message wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was calm, cold, mechanical. "This is a warning," it said. "Leave, now, or be destroyed." The voice was human, but twisted, emotionless. The Zarnathi laughed again. "Who do they think they are?" sneered Commander Vel. "They send one ship against an empire?" Without waiting, Vel ordered the attack. Lasers, missiles, and plasma beams fired at the human vessel. The stars lit up with fire. For a few seconds, the black ship vanished behind the explosions. But when the smoke cleared, it was still there, untouched. Not even a scratch. Before the Zarnathi could react, the ship moved. Not fast, but smooth, silent, deadly. One beam of light blinked from its underbelly. In an instant, 2 Zarnathi ships vanished. Not exploded, vanished. Nothing remained. No debris, no signal, no trace. Panic filled the Zarnathi channels. "Retreat! Retreat!" Vel shouted. But it was too late. Another blink of light and 2 more ships disappeared. Only the command ship remained. Vel stared at the silent human warship, sweat pouring down his face. He tried to speak, to surrender, but his voice failed. The ship sent another message. "This is not an act of war. This is a test." Then it turned and disappeared into hyperspace, leaving only silence behind. Back on Urek Prime, the Emperor watched the final transmission. The room was quiet. No one laughed now. No one smiled. Even the air felt heavier. One advisor whispered, "They sent only one ship." And it destroyed 4 of ours in seconds. Zalek stood slowly. They were wiped out. We ended them. So how is this possible? No one answered. The silence grew heavier. And far away, in a dark corner of the galaxy, the black ship moved again, searching for the next system. The Zarnathi had thought the humans were gone forever, forgotten, weak. They were wrong. And now, the message had been sent. Humanity was back, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Zarnathi had never feared another species. But now, something felt wrong. After the first encounter, the Empire lost 4 warships. No debris, no bodies, just silence. The human ship, codenamed Black Echo, vanished without a trace. But they knew it hadn't left the galaxy. The Emperor ordered 10 more warships, the best in the fleet, led by High Commander Threx, a ruthless leader known for burning entire planets without blinking. "It's just one ship," he said. "One human toy. We'll crush it like dust." Within hours, they tracked the Black Echo. It was drifting near Cavalon 9, a small moon used for mining rare metals. The planet below had no defenses, only workers and families. Still, Threx didn't hesitate. "All ships, surround the target," he ordered. "No communication, no negotiation. We fire on sight." The human ship didn't move, didn't speak. It just floated, silent and dark, like before. The Zarnathi fleet locked weapons. Targeting systems were perfect. The countdown began. 2, 1, 12 warships fired everything. Missiles, plasma torpedoes, laser lances. The sky above Cavalon 9 lit up like a dying star. Then, silence. Sensors checked the damage, and what they saw froze the fleet in fear. The Black Echo was still there, unharmed, not even a scratch. Then, without warning, it responded, not with words, with power. A low hum spread across space. A glow formed under the ship, bright, blue, and rising. One beam shot down toward the moon. Not at the fleet. At Cavalon 9, the entire moon vanished. Gone. No explosion. No warning. No shockwave. 1 second it was there. Homes, factories, families. The next second, empty space. Even Threx, the butcher of dozens of worlds, gasped. That wasn't war," he whispered. "That was godlike." The Black Echo turned slowly toward the fleet. Suddenly, a message came through. This was, "Your final warning! We do not repeat," Threx shouted. Fall back now!" But it was too late. Another blink of light. 4 ships vanished, not destroyed, erased. The remaining ships broke formation and jumped to hyperspace, terrified, screaming. These were the Empire's best. Now they were running, back on the capital. World, the Emperor watched in silence. The war room was frozen. No one spoke. No one moved. The image of the vanished moon repeated on the screen. Someone whispered, This isn't a ship. It's a message." The Emperor turned slowly. To who? An old alien advisor, long forgotten, spoke in a shaking voice. "To us, to the galaxy. The humans have returned, and they remember." The Black Echo had destroyed a moon. It erased 8 warships. It sent messages without sound and fear without words. Now it was drifting again, slowly, toward the next system. The Zarnathi Empire was in panic. The Emperor ordered a full science. "Team, we must understand it," he said, "before it returns again." So they built a remote research station near a dead star, empty space, no colonies nearby. Just the Black Echo floating in the dark. The best minds of the Empire arrived. Scientists from 14 different species, experts in energy, machines, weapons, and alien life. They had one job: scan the ship, learn its secrets. They tried everything: sensors, energy waves, quantum scans. Nothing worked. No life signs, no engines running, no heat from weapons, Not even a power source they could detect. It was like scanning a ghost. One scientist, Dr. Alvin Marr, whispered, "There's no crew, no AI, no signal. It shouldn't be moving." But it was. Every few hours, the ship adjusted its position, just a few meters. But no engines fired, no fuel used, as if the universe itself moved it. Then, something strange happened. A drone flew close to its surface, a simple machine, unarmed, just a camera. As it reached the hull, it disappeared, not destroyed, not broken, just gone. Dr. Marr stared at the readings. Where did it go? A moment later, the Black Echo sent a new signal. It spoke their names. Every scientist on the station, one by one, first and last. The crew went silent. Then the voice said, "Leave. You are not ready." The team begged the Emperor to evacuate the station, but he refused. "Keep watching. Keep learning. There must be a trick." The scientists stayed. Days passed. Then something changed. Dr. Marr began hearing voices in his mind. At night. It wasn't speech. It was memories, images of Earth, human faces, war, fire, silence. Other scientists reported the same. The ship wasn't empty. It was watching them. Maybe it was alive, or maybe it was something worse. The Empire tried one last test. Send a small AI drone inside. It was smart, fast, ready. It entered a crack near the hull. Seconds later, it screamed. Not the AI, the station. Every screen, every speaker, every system. The AI screamed through them all, then it went silent. And the Black Echo moved again. One word, echoed from its core. Remember. The scientists left, shaking, silent. They had no answers, only fear. Back in the capital, the Emperor listened to the report. He asked, "So what is this ship?" Dr. Marr, his face pale, replied, "It's not a ship. It's a grave." And something inside woke up. The ship said one word, "Remember." So the Empire searched its own past and found a war they had buried for 300 years. A war with a species they thought they had destroyed. But the records told a different story, one that should have stayed hidden. After the scientists escaped the research station, the Zarnathi Empire stood at a crossroads. They couldn't destroy the Black Echo. They couldn't scan it. And now, it was speaking to them, sending messages, showing memories. One word echoed across every command center. Remember. So the Emperor ordered a full search of ancient records, classified archives, hidden files, forgotten history. For 3 days, machines dug through data over 1,000. Years old, most of it was war, conquest, glory. But then something strange appeared. A red file, locked with 10 layers of security. Title, Operation Endfall, The Human War. Even the Emperor had never seen it. He opened the file. What he saw made him go pale. 300 years ago, the Zarnathi Empire had met a species called humans. At first, they were small, weak, scattered. They had only a few star systems and old ships. But they didn't kneel. They fought back. They didn't beg for peace. They didn't surrender. And when the Empire burned one of their worlds, the humans didn't cry. They disappeared. For 10 years, nothing was heard from them. Then, one by one, Zarnathi colonies began to fall, destroyed in the night. No signals, no survivors, only ashes. The Empire fought back, sent fleets, sent fire, but the humans never came head-on. They hunted in silence. They used planets like traps. They used dying stars as weapons. And then, they vanished again. The final report said, humanity scattered. No homeworld. No fleets. War ends. The Empire believed they had won, but now, reading the full file, the truth became clear. They never won, they only survived. Humans had one goal: to disappear, to make the galaxy forget them, and to prepare. Operation Endfall was not their defeat. T was their plan, a plan to return, stronger, smarter, and invisible. And the Black Echo? It was part of that plan. A ghost ship, a weapon, a memory, built to awaken after centuries of silence, built to remind the Empire. The Emperor slammed the file closed. This is a human revenge. But one advisor whispered, "No, Your Grace, this is only the beginning." Suddenly, a new signal arrived. It came from deep space, a second human ship. Just like the Black Echo. No life signs, no energy detected, just drifting, waiting. The Empire realized something horrifying. That ship wasn't the only one. Humanity had returned, and they hadn't forgotten. The Empire thought it was over. One ghost ship, one warning. But then, the stars changed, space shifted, and thousands of hidden signals lit up, one by one. Humanity had never been gone. They had been waiting. The Black Echo had shaken the Empire. The second ship, silent, drifting, shattered their confidence. And now something even worse was happening. All across the outer zones of the galaxy, small stations began to go dark. Not attacked, not destroyed, just silent. When scout drones arrived to check, the stations were gone. No wreckage, no distress call. As if they had never existed. The Emperor ordered full scans of the entire sector, and that's when the truth came out. Human signals, thousands of them, hidden deep in asteroid fields, buried under dead moons, disguised as space rocks, ice, even garbage. Long-range scanners showed ships, old, silent, and sleeping, until now. One by one, the ships began to wake up. The energy signatures were strange, nothing like the Empire had seen. The ships didn't match any design. Some were massive, others small, but they all had the same origin code: Earth Defense Network, status, active panic spread fast. The Empire's admirals argued, "It's an illusion. It's just old tech waking up." They don't have real crews. But deep down, they all felt the truth. This wasn't a surprise attack. It was a plan, set in motion hundreds of years ago. Silent fleets waiting in shadows, ships left behind, not to fight, but to watch. And now they were all turning toward Zarnathi space. Small mining colony, Cavex 3, was the first to witness the real power. 3 human ships appeared from behind its moon. No warning, no message. The colony fired a few defense missiles. They didn't even reach the ships. The ships vanished, then reappeared inside the colony's defense ring, impossible jump distances. No drive trails, no heat. And then they simply sent one signal. Earth remembers. The colony surrendered in less than 60 seconds. The humans didn't fire. They didn't take prisoners. They just left. Back in the capital, fear turned into chaos. "Where is their main fleet?" someone shouted. An old war historian stepped forward. "There is no main fleet," he said. "We are already surrounded. That was the plan. The Black Echo was only the voice. The fleet has always been here." The Emperor turned to the stars. "They were never gone," he whispered. "They were just waiting for us to forget." The human fleet didn't fire. They didn't destroy planets. They didn't even answer messages. They just appeared from the edges of every system, from behind forgotten stars, from inside nebulae no one had entered in centuries. The Empire watched, in silence, as thousands of Earth-marked ships surrounded them, calm, quiet, cold. The High Command sat in the war chamber. Maps lit the table, full of red signals, all human, all moving with purpose. Admiral Kez spoke first. His voice cracked. "We have no plan for this." The Emperor stared at the map. He had led 100 wars, crushed dozens of rebellions. But this wasn't war. It was a funeral they hadn't realized was for them. All over the empire, strange things began to happen. Satellites went blind, only to turn back on hours later, showing images of Earth's ancient cities. Communication lines were hijacked, not with threats, but with human history lessons. Imperial schools received files labeled, Lesson 1, What You Forgot. People began to ask questions. Were the humans really monsters? Why did we attack them first? Why did they leave instead of destroy us? The fear grew, deeper, not of war, but of truth. That the Empire had become the villain in a story it buried long ago. The Emperor called an emergency council. There will be no battle, he said. Only surrender. Gasps filled the room. We don't even know what they want, one shouted. They haven't even responded. The Emperor looked up slowly. That's what makes it worse. They don't need to speak. We know why they're here. We knew the day we erased their name from our history. And so, the message was prepared. Sent not in royal code, but in simple words, broadcast across every human frequency. To those of Earth, we remember. We regret. We surrender. Tell us what remains. For one full day, there was no answer. Then, a reply came. 4 words. Cold. Final. Prepare to be judged. And then, the human ships stopped moving. Just waiting. Like judges walking into a silent courtroom. For days, the human fleet held its position. Silent. Watching. Each ship was like a dark mirror. Floating reminders of something. Ancient and unfinished. No demands, no attacks. No reply after their final message. Prepare to be judged. Inside the Zarnathi capital, fear filled every hall. Citizens waited. Soldiers stood down. Even children knew the sky was no longer theirs. The Empire's leaders stood ready, heads bowed, not for negotiation, but for punishment. And then, it happened. One ship moved. The Black Echo, the same vessel that had started it all, descended into orbit over the Imperial Palace. But it didn't open fire. Instead, it projected an image into the sky. A woman stood there, human, calm, old, but strong. She spoke in simple words. 300 years ago, you tried to erase us. You failed. We didn't return for revenge. We returned for truth. Then the skies darkened again. Across the Empire, human ships began broadcasting footage. Old. War crimes. Hidden files. Burned cities. Civilian deaths. All committed by the Empire. But also, moments of peace. Human children helping alien refugees. Human ships defending weaker species, even after exile. The broadcasts ended with one message. You feared our return, but you should have feared your own history. Fix it or fall. Then, the human fleet vanished, all of it. Gone. No trace. The Empire stood in shock. No invasion. No colonization. Only a mirror. A warning. A second chance. For the first time in centuries, the Empire began to change. Not by war, but by truth. Schools rewrote their books. Statues of the old warlords were taken down, and deep in space, a monument was built. No name, just a message carved in every galactic language. They remembered, so we could.